In the lush, fertile plains of Bengal, where rivers sang through fields of gold, a storm was rising, not of wind or rain, but of power, ambition, and betrayal. The year was 1757, and in just one fateful day, India's destiny would be rewritten, not by foreign might alone, but by betrayal that came from within. This is the true story of how Siraj ud-Daulah, the last independent Nawab of Bengal, was brought down, not just by British cannons, but by the men who stood beside him and sold him out. Siraj ud-Daulah was born in 1733, the grandson of Alivardi Khan, the powerful Nawab of Bengal. Alivardi raised him like a prince and declared him heir long before his death. Though Siraj had many rivals in the court, he was appointed Nawab in 1756 at the age of 23. He was young, headstrong, emotional, and deeply patriotic. But in the royal court of Murshidabad, where smiles were masks and every ally a potential traitor, emotion was dangerous. From the very beginning of his rule, Siraj was surrounded by enemies, jealous nobles, offended merchants, and a growing British force in Calcutta that was becoming more than just a trading company. When the British started fortifying Fort William without permission and refused to pay taxes, Siraj decided to act. He marched on Calcutta and recaptured it, leading to the infamous incident of the Black Hole of Calcutta. But in retaliating, Siraj had not just angered the British. He had unknowingly lit the fuse of treachery in his own house. Across the court, in whispers and behind veils, a conspiracy was taking shape. At its center stood Mir Jafar, Siraj's commander-in-chief. A veteran of many battles, Mir Jafar had long dreamed of sitting on the Nawab's throne. When Clive and the East India Company sought local support to defeat Siraj, Mir Jafar was the first to shake their hand. But he wasn't alone. Jagat Seth, the richest banker in Bengal, perhaps in all of Asia at the time, had grown fearful of Siraj's unpredictable nature. He believed that under British influence, his wealth would be safer. Rai Durlabh, another general in Siraj's army, and Yar Lutuf Khan, an influential noble, both pledged loyalty to Siraj with their lips, while their hearts plotted otherwise. Even Omichand, a cunning Armenian merchant, played both sides. He demanded a bribe to stay silent, not knowing that Clive would later deceive him with a forged treaty. Thus, a full circle of betrayal was sealed, financed by wealth, driven by ambition, and fueled by cowardice. On the morning of June 23, 1757, on the battlefield of Plassey near the Bhagirathi River, Siraj's army stood at around 50,000 strong, with artillery and cavalry that should have outclassed Clive's force of barely 3,000 British and Indian sepoys. But unknown to Siraj, most of his army had no intention of fighting. As cannons thundered and the skies darkened with monsoon clouds, the battle began. At first it seemed Siraj had the upper hand. His brave commander Mir Madan led a strong offensive, but soon fell to a British cannonball. Mohan, loyal to the Nawab to the end, urged him to keep fighting, but the betrayal was already unfolding. Mir Jafar's troops stood still, watching. Rai Durlabh and Yar Lutuf Khan held their horses back. Not a sword was drawn, not an arrow was loosed. Siraj waited for support that would never come. By the time he realized the truth, it was too late. His lines had broken. The Nawab fled on a camel under cover of night, seeking safety in disguise. But there was no refuge for a fallen king. Within days, Siraj was captured, imprisoned, and eventually murdered by order of Mir Jafar's son, Miran. His body was quietly buried near the tomb of Alivardi Khan. The light of independent Bengal and India had been extinguished. Mir Jafar was installed as a puppet Nawab, but he quickly learned that the British were not partners. They were masters. He was humiliated, taxed and manipulated until even he regretted his betrayal. His family name became a curse. As for Jagat Seth, Omichand, and the rest, they would either be discarded or destroyed by the very company they helped rise. The price of betrayal was paid in shame. The Battle of Plassey wasn't just a military loss. It marked the beginning of nearly 200 years of British rule in India. And it all began with an internal collapse. A lesson that empires often fall not from external force, but from the cracks within. Siraj's story is not just about defeat. It is about how loyalty and treachery shape nations, how valor can be silenced, and how traitors often win the day, but lose history's respect. Even today, the word Mir Jafar in India means only one thing: a traitor. It is a warning, a whisper from the past, echoing through every generation. So remember Plassey, not just for its war, but for its betrayal. Not just for Siraj's fall, but for the rise of an empire built on broken trust. If this story moved you, remember, history is not just dates and battles. It is human choices, ambitions, fears, and the consequences of silence. Like, share, and subscribe to Speechesnstories for more true tales from India's forgotten past. And tell us in the comments, what do you think hurts more, defeat or betrayal?